In this episode of our series, we'll explore maintaining biodiversity, conservation programs designed to protect ecosystems, strategies to preserve habitats and species, and finally, look at why biodiversity conservation is facing challenges. Maintaining high biodiversity levels is crucial for ecosystem stability and resilience. Biodiversity helps ecosystems remain balanced and recover from disturbances. When biodiversity declines, ecosystems become vulnerable to collapse, potentially triggering cascading effects throughout the natural world. In response to alarming biodiversity losses, scientists and conservationists have developed numerous programs to protect ecosystems and their inhabitants. These initiatives range from small-scale local projects to international conservation efforts. Breeding programs represent one key strategy for preventing species extinctions. These programs serve as genetic insurance policies and involve breeding endangered animals in captivity, ensuring species survival even if wild populations disappear. Individual animals from breeding programs are often released into wild to boost declining populations or re-establish extinct ones. This approach has successfully rescued species like the California condor and Arabian oryx from the brink of extinction. Habitat protection and regeneration programs focus on preserving entire ecosystems rather than individual species. Protecting rare habitats like mangroves, heathlands, and coral reefs safeguards all organisms living within these environments, maintaining both species and ecosystem diversity. Agricultural landscapes also benefit from biodiversity enhancement programs. Many farms now reintroduce hedgerows and field margins around crops, where only single species are grown. Field margins are strips of land around field edges where wildflowers and grasses grow naturally, creating wildlife corridors. These features support far more organisms than could survive in single crop fields alone. Hedgerows provide nesting sites for birds, shelter for small mammals, and food sources for pollinators, significantly increasing agricultural biodiversity. Governments worldwide have introduced regulations to reduce deforestation rates, limiting habitat loss and carbon dioxide emissions. These policies aim to preserve forest ecosystems whilst addressing climate change, tackling two environmental crises simultaneously. Recycling programs reduce pressure on ecosystems by decreasing landfill requirements. When people recycle materials rather than discarding them, less land needs converting to waste disposal sites, preserving natural habitats. Unfortunately, maintaining biodiversity isn't as straightforward as implementing conservation programs. Numerous conflicting pressures complicate conservation efforts, creating difficult choices between environmental protection and human needs. These conflicts often pit short-term economic gains against long-term environmental sustainability. Financial constraints significantly impact conservation efforts. Governments must pay farmers subsidies to maintain hedgerows and field margins, compensating them for reduced crop yields from these areas. Employing wardens to monitor protected areas and enforcing regulations requires substantial funding. Limited budgets mean difficult decisions about which species or habitats receive protection. Economic interests frequently conflict with biodiversity protection goals. Conservation efforts can threaten local livelihoods, particularly in developing regions. Reducing deforestation protects biodiversity but may leave logging workers unemployed, creating social and economic hardship for communities dependent on forest resources. Food security concerns sometimes override biodiversity considerations. Farmers view certain wildlife as pests, when they damage crops or livestock, leading to control measures that disrupt food chains and reduce biodiversity. Development pressures constantly challenge conservation efforts. Growing populations require housing, infrastructure, and agricultural land, often at the expense of natural habitats on urban fringes or in developing nations. Finding balance between environmental protection and human needs remains one of our greatest challenges. Success requires cooperation between governments, businesses, communities, and individuals, all working towards sustainable solutions.